Gethsemane. Supper had just ended. You just saw it. Supper had just ended. Jesus and his 11 disciples now ascends to a private spot. Gethsemane is a lonely place. Gethsemane is a place of betrayal. Gethsemane is a place of despair. The word says that there will not be a lot of travelers. You'll find a traveler every now and then. So tonight, if you have a Gethsemane spot, just remember, one day we'll find ourselves in Gethsemane. Jesus takes his disciples after supper had ended and pours his heart out to show he was human but yet holy. You and I will go to that spot. There may be somebody tonight that feels like they live in Gethsemane, a place of isolation. But the 11 ascended the banks of the Mount of Olives, and Jesus takes Peter, James, and John, the inner circle, leaves the other 8 there. Jesus says, my heart is very sorrowful and heavy. And I need y'all to understand tonight that you can't take everybody to your prayer room. There's some people that you have to leave and go to talk to the master yourself. Jesus tells them to stay, and he goes a little farther, and he begins to pray to his Father. Oh, my Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass. But nevertheless, Lord, let your will be done. Sometimes we just can't pray it through it. God's will gonna be done. Don't care how hard we pray. Don't care how long we pray. God's will be done. Jesus arrives from prayer, finds the disciple asleep. He awakes Peter and said, can you just not watch 1 hour while I go yonder to pray? The flesh is willing, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Jesus goes the second time to pray. Same disciples, same results. Jesus arises the second time, finds the same 3 disciples in the same position. He awakes them again. Can you just not watch while I pray? They didn't have no idea what Jesus was facing. So he leaves again the third time and begins to pray to his Father. Oh, my Father, if this cup doesn't pass that I drink, let thy will be Jesus arrives the third time. This time he doesn't ask them to watch and pray. He says, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is come that the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of sinners. Arise! Let us be going, because he that is at hand is here to betray me. While he was speaking, Judas, one of the 12 from the multitude, comes with staffs and swords from the chief priest. It says, whomsoever I lay hands on and kiss, the same is he. Jesus said, friend, wherefore thou come? Peter, the one you remember that was asleep, began to get angry, stretched forth his hand, struck the man's ear off. Jesus tells Peter, put up your sword. He that live by shall die by. Jesus reached down, reattached the man's ear. Jesus looked at the disciples, Judas and the enemy, and said, I've taught in the synagogues. I didn't run from you. I didn't run from you then, and I'm not going to run from you now. All this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. And all the disciples forsook him and fled. They led Jesus away to Caiaphas, the high priest. Well, the elders and the scribes were assembled. What a humble God we serve. But Peter followed afar off unto the high priest and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and the elders and the council sought false witnesses against Jesus to put him to death. But they found none. Though many false witnesses came, yet they found none. And at last, two witnesses, false witnesses come. This fellow said, am I able to destroy the temple and build it up in 3 days? The chief priest arose and said, answer thou. But Jesus held his peace. And the high priest answered and said, I adjourn thee by the living God, that thou tell us if thou be the Son of God. The high priest rent his clothes, saying, he has spoken blasphemy. Behold, ye have heard it. Answer us. He is guilty. They spit in his face. They buffeted him. Others slapped him with the palm of their hand. They said, prophesy. Who did this to you? Now Peter sat there in the place. And a damsel came unto him and said, Art thou? Wast thou with Jesus in Galilee? He denied it, says, no, I don't know what you say. And when he was gone out on the porch, another maid saw him and said unto them, This fellow was also with Jesus. And he began to deny with an oath and said, I don't know the man. And after a while, came unto him and stood by and said, Peter, surely thou art him, because thy speech has given thee away. Peter remembered. He began to cuss and to swear, said, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crowed. Peter remembered the words of Jesus. Jesus said that before the cock crowed 3 times, you will deny me. Peter went out and wept bitterly. When the morning had come, all the chief priests and the elders took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered unto him Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief and the elders, saying, I have sinned that I have betrayed innocent blood. They said, what is this? See thou this? Cast down the pieces of silver and depart. You better be careful who you sell out. Judas hanged himself. The chief priest took the silver, said, it is not lawful for us to put this in the treasury, because it's the price of blood. They took counsel, brought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Therefore, even unto this day is called the field of blood. Jesus stands before the governor. The governor asked him, art thou the king of the Jews? Jesus said unto him, thou sayest. And when he was accused, the chief priests and the elders answered nothing. Then Pilate said unto him, hearest thou many things that they witness against thee? And he answered him never a word, insomuch the governor marveled greatly. And when they had heard, Pilate said that he was from Galilee. They were mad because he was a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who himself was also in Jerusalem. When Herod saw him, Herod was exceedingly glad, for he was desirous to see him for a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and would hope that he would perform a miracle in front of him. He questioned him in many words, but Jesus answered not a word. The chief priests and the scribes stood accusing him and mocking him. And again, they send him back to Pilate. It was the feast. And during this time, they will release a prisoner. Therefore, Pilate asked the crowd, whom shall I release unto you, Barabbas or Jesus? For he knew that the enemy had delivered him. And when Pilate had sat down again in the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, have nothing to do with this just man. I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. Pilate said, what shall I do with this Jesus called Christ? They said unto him, crucify him. The governor said, when Pilate prevailed nothing, rather, he took water, poured it in a basin, washed his hands of innocent blood, said to all the people, this blood be on us and our children. They released Barabbas. And they scorned Jesus. They stripped him of his scarlet robe and placed a plaited thorn of crown upon his head. They bowed their knee before him and mocked him and said, "Hail to the king." They spit on him. They smote him in the head. And they said, "Away with him and crucify him."